Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be part two. So if you haven't seen part one, definitely go and check that video out. I'll try to link it in the description or something. With part two, what we're going to be looking at today is the fusion side to this entire process. So to give a quick recap, the process we're building is you're adding an issue, submitting a request to be an issue on a project. In this case, we're calling it an amendment. And then what we want to happen is when you submit that amendment, it automatically adds certain tasks to that project. So we're going to look at that today with the Fusion side. So the Fusion, which is going to be the one taking and adding that. So we're here in Fusion. Our first step is to add that watch event. And so um, I'm going to add a new one here. We're going to say amendment, amendment, issue created. There we go. This connection is me, and then record type is going to be the issue, right? Because, what we're creating here, just I guess to take a step back, is what's going to happen that's going to trigger or fire this scenario, right? So what the trigger is the issues being created, right? So that's what we're building out here is that once the issue is created, that's going to trigger this. So that's why record type is issue. We want it to be new state. So for this, the filter, we're going to use category ID. And let's go get the category ID from Workfront. So the category ID is basically the custom form ID, right? So this is that custom form that we built in part one. And the ID is going to be up here in the URL. So I'm just going to copy that and then paste it here. So basically, the way this is working is since that custom form is attached to that queue topic, right? So, meaning every time that you create that issue, that amendment type issue, it will always have this custom form associated with it or attached with it, which means it'll always have this category ID associated with it. So that's the way we're going to do this. If, let's say, for example, you had a custom form that was on um, multiple different key topics, and you had one custom form that was, used multiple in multiple different areas, then we could look at a different option instead of category ID. That would be a unique identifier for just that specific key topic. Or if you wanted to stick and still use category ID, you could then add a filter after to make sure you're bringing or passing through only the relevant information. So basically, the first module would bring in anytime any issue with that category ID was created, but then whatever action you're doing next, you could filter it. So it's only going to pass through the specific Q topic or issue that you're wanting. But in this case, we just have the one that this category ID or this custom form is only associated with one key topic, so it's fine. Okay, so the category ID is equal to that. This is going to be important. I need to click this little box. So this is exclude updates made by this connection. So the connection is myself. So what that means is if I left that clicked and I went into Workfront and tried to, in this case, create a new issue that was supposed to trigger it, it wouldn't trigger because it's ignoring um, me, right? So with by unchecking that box, it's going to not ignore me. A lot of times, what we'll end up doing is we'll create a new connection that's for like a admin user. So we'll create a new user, or if there's like an admin user already created, we'll use that. That way, it's not associated with like one specific person. I'm going to create a new video walking through exactly how to do that. So stay tuned. That'll be a different video. I'll walk through adding that kind of admin user and then adding that connection and showing you how to do that. But for now, we'll just use mine and just keep that unchecked. And then for record origin, we're going to say new record only, right? Because we're only concerned when a new issue is created. We want to add those tasks. We don't necessarily, let's say, they go back in and needed to change some of the details on that custom form. Uh, we wouldn't necessarily want that to trigger this and then add a task again, right? It's just when that issue or the amendment is first added to the project. So that's looking good. New state, new record only. Okay. Let's save that and perfect. So now let's test it, or let's make sure it works. So let's go over to a project. Let's just go into this test amendment project that we made. Let's go to issue and we'll hit new issue. Here's that queue topic, the amendment. Um, we'll call this test amendment. And then we'll just hit this. And then before we hit save, let's run this. So now it's going to be looking for that trigger, and then let's submit. So that was successfully created. Let's go back to Fusion, and we see that ran successfully. Okay, so we can look into it. Here's the new state. The amendment type was budget is what we clicked. There's the ID. There's the name, test amendment. So that's all looking good. So we got bringing in the right data. Status new. Perfect. Okay, so that's the first step. Now we created the trigger. So now whenever a new issue is created, it is going to trigger this. So the next step is to make it so that those uh, that template that we created with the task for the amendment get added. Okay, so that's what we're going to look at next. Okay, so now we're going to go in and create another module. For this, we're going to use this miscellaneous action. Um, well, there's only one connection, but make sure you're on the correct connection. Then the record type is going to be project, right? Because if you're thinking through what we're doing, we're wanting to attach that template to the project. So we're at the project level. Okay. And then here, the action is going to be attach template right there. Okay. So here's pretty straightforward. We just need to get this information, and so we'll map it over, bring in the template ID. So the project ID we're going to get from this new state, it's not going to be just the ID because this is an issue. So we need to go and find the project ID. Okay. So now we're going to so this is making sure that it's going to update this specific project. So now let's get the template ID. So let's go back in here. Let's go over to our templates. And then it's this amendment task, right? This is the new template we created specifically for this process. So again, go get the ID up here in the URL, and we will paste that there. Okay. And then that is it. If there's any other data that you needed to add, you could, but for this example, we're just, straight up adding those new tasks. So let's hit OK, and let's give this a new name. We'll say attach template task, or sorry, not template task, amendment task. Okay, so then we added the name. Let's just save this real quick. Another thing we'll do is rename these. So this is the um, amendment amendment created. We'll call it that, and then we'll rename this attach template. Now let's see if it works. So let's go back over to our project. And then I'm just going to delete this for a sec. It's not needed, but just to make sure, keep it nice and clean. Okay, so let's create a new issue. We'll hit amendment. We'll just call it the same thing, test amendment. Um, Maybe this time we'll say it's a stakeholder interview. Again, say we're going to make it 31st. And then let's run this. Go over here and submit. And then let's come back here and see when it successfully runs. Yeah, there we go. Look in here. We got an input, we got an output. So now let's go look at this. Let's just make sure we refresh. And if we scroll down, we should have those amendment tasks right there. So you see it automatically added that to the bottom of the project based on that template. Has the assigned that I added based on the template. So basically all the whatever you've configured in the template will come across, right? And there you go. So that's how you can create so that when you submit an issue, it can automatically add template tasks. So this is obviously this one use case, one option of the many different things you can do. But hopefully that was an interesting video. Hopefully that helped. And if anything is helping spur your imagination, understand some of the various functionalities you can create when it comes to Workfront and Fusion, and just how powerful Fusion can be for improving your different processes and workflows. So um, definitely reach out if you have any questions. I'll leave my email in the description. So you can feel free to email me if you have any questions. Also, always open to suggestions for additional videos that we'll be making. So feel free to send those over as well. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next video.